guys. This is Oceans and Humans Dependence. So, in this lesson, we're talking about all of the different impacts that humans have on our Earth's water sources, be it from streams and rivers all the way down to the ocean. Okay, so 44% of our ocean pollution comes from runoff. And as we've discussed before, runoff is where we have polluted streams that flow into rivers, that flow into lakes, that flow directly into some other water source that eventually makes its way to the ocean. So runoff is the point where the freshwater source meets the ocean, okay? So 33% of pollution that is in our entire oceans got there from air pollution. Now, 12% of pollution is from shipping and oil spills. And a few years ago, there was a massive oil spill over in the Gulf of Mexico. You might remember it. It was a big deal. And then 10% of our pollution is ocean dumping. So that's just like where we have trash, we don't know what to do with it. So instead of burning it, we just dump it in the oceans. It's horrible. Okay, and then we've got 1%, which is from offshore drilling. Now, this picture over here on the right-hand side is what we like to call the garbage conveyor belt. Now, as you know from previous lessons, the Earth's oceans cycle their water, and all of the water throughout our Earth can eventually make its way to other parts of our Earth. Okay, it is conceivable that if we dump something, say over here by the Horn of Africa, that it could make its way up here by Greenland, a completely different continent, a completely different ocean. Um, so you can't just dump in one area and expect the pollution to stay in that area. It will be circulated throughout our globe. Okay, then we've got other types of human impact. We're fishing, and sometimes we're overfishing. We do this for food sources for us to eat, of course, but we also do this for sport. Um, and sometimes what we catch is then thrown back into the sea. But that's not without human impact, okay? So just because we throw it back doesn't mean everything's a-okay. See, here we've got bycatch. And these are the fish that are caught in a net but are thrown back to sea. Now they're going to throw them back whether those fish are dead or alive. 30% of the fish that we catch will eventually go back to the sea. However, they're going to be thrown back whether they're dead or alive, okay? But those fish that are dead are obviously not going to be reproducing to regenerate that population. So eventually that's going to cause overfishing. Now, overfishing is what occurs when people catch the fish at a faster rate than they can reproduce, okay? Now, oil spills, we talked about that just a little bit ago, but oil spills have been found all along the shores. 30% of the world's oil is pumped from below the seafloor, and this is going to cause a slow but long-term problems for our sea life. Okay, it's a slow process, but eventually this pumping of the oil will introduce a whole bunch of chemicals and other things into our oceans that our sea life cannot process and they cannot survive around. Okay, so not good news there. Now, humans have also put in artificial reefs. Artificial reefs are put there, I think, for good intention, right? They're man-made structures that mimic some of the characteristics of a natural reef. These natural reefs maybe have been destroyed for some reason, and the artificial reefs would give fish and other marine life a home that simulates their natural home. Okay? But there are good things here about artificial reefs, but there's always a trade-off, right? Artificial reefs are still introducing man-made structures into otherwise potentially and hopefully an undisturbed habitat. So there's pros and cons to artificial reefs. So I want you guys to think critically about some of those things and what do you believe is the benefit or the drawback of artificial reefs and the other types of human impact that we have had, okay? So think critically about those things, and that's it for today's lesson. Thanks.